Recording in progress.
Greetings, 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 family, friends, and the world. This is Mikhail Eric Harris, better known as the Juice, also known as the Alkaline Water Guy. How is everyone doing on this beautiful night? Or this beautiful evening now? It's not night yet. This is the evening of June 1st, 2026. This is the evening of June 1st, the end of the evening, let me say it like that. This is the end of the evening of June, what we call June 1st, 2026. This is the 1st of June, and tonight is, as we have every Monday, this is Mikhail's Knowledge of Truth. This is Mikhail's Knowledge of Truth. We're here every Monday at 9 p.m., either in the evening or either after the sun is down, which is in the night. As I was saying, this is Mikhail's Knowledge of Truth. This is actually this would be my third night after my 21st. I'm saying this is my 21st anniversary of one of the visions I had back in 98. A vision I had in 98, and this is the third day after that, the exact third day after that. When I had something that I had to do out of that dream. I shared the last 2 nights, just shared some of that and other things that's going on as well. So other than that, we're going to start off with a prayer, and after the prayer, we see if the Creator brings in for us to speak on this evening. All right? Blessed be thou, Father of the universe, that bring forth all living creatures forth from the earth. Blessed be thou, Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Blessed be the Father of Israel. Blessed be the Father of the 12 tribes of Israel. Thank you, Father, for all you've done, been doing, and plan to do. We ask you to keep giving us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, life, health, and strength, food, shelter, and clothing. Let us be happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, and prosperous in all that we do. We ask you to keep leading and guiding us so we can help lead and guide others in your knowledge, your word, your ruach, and your way. We ask you to keep your arm of protection around us, keep us in every way, help us in every way, that we may know to do your will, to follow your will, and follow the spirit that you have given us in order to grow in this day and time. We ask you to forgive us of any sins and misdeeds that we have done in your sight, knowing and not knowing. We ask you to forgive us, our ancestors, and our forefathers for going against you and your law. We've transgressed against you, and you've also transgressed against us, because we transgressed against you and against your law. We ask you to forgive us of the sins that we have done in time past, today's time, and time to come. We also ask you, Father, to lift the spirit of deep sleep from us, that we may awaken and arise to your light. We ask you to allow us to know and understand the blessings and the curses in Deuteronomy 28, which is a chapter that you have let us know what it is that will help us and that what will be against us. By Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14 is the blessings that will help us, and though that the world is under Deuteronomy 28, verse 15 through 68, which is the curses that the world is in today. We ask you to help us come off from under these curses and awaken us in this day and time so we may know the truth, know your knowledge, and know your way. We ask you to help us in every way, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, financial, or spiritual. In all these things we pray. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Thank you, Father. All right, y'all. Tonight, just to share with everyone, first, I'd like to welcome my brother Keith Ritter. As my brother, long brother I've been knowing in Atlanta, Georgia. This is the brother that taught me the energy of how to speak. This brother has helped me see some things in a way when I was in Atlanta. It was some years back. I think this was back in 2012 or 13, maybe 14. No, it wasn't 14. It was in 12 or 13 when he helped me see some, maybe in 2011. But he helped when we met. We got to know each other, and he got me to understand things according to words. He would tell me, I don't say can't, don't, stop, not, won't, and the things of a negative connotation. And he said, just change your conversation to, instead of saying not or don't or stop. Just do it on a different area. And my best way of explaining that is like, instead of saying, well, don't do that, well, I'll see. In a sense of saying, in a different way of saying, using the word not and stop, because doing that is actually a block. But when you continue to speak in a positive or in a way that will make you seem like you're actually trying or continuing with the situation. And I did that. I started watching my words. I started checking myself. I felt an enlightenment. Maybe it was, I can't say how long it was. I'm going to say about 2 weeks, maybe a little longer, but I don't remember. But all I can say is I felt an enlightenment, and I felt an energy, a surge when I was doing this. So, like I said, I always share with everyone. When I went to Atlanta, I was on the same mission, but more of a mission of still learning. When I left Detroit, my home, and went to Germany, I fulfilled one of the things I always wanted to do, which is to dance and help get mainly become famous, which I did in Europe. In a year's time, I helped the group get to where it take a group in 5 years in 1 year's time. Got a gold CD. After that 1 year's time of June of 94 to June of 95, I went through my spiritual awakening. And I've been sharing this, and this is a lot of what's been happening within these last days since the 30th, when I had a vision back in 98, the same day, that Friday going into the Sabbath, which is the 30th in 98. Same thing as in, we're in this 21 years later, 31 years later, we're here at the same point. Same dates, same time. But as I was saying that, I went through my spiritual awakening after that, and I was guided from Germany to Mississippi, where I learned the Bible, Genesis to Revelation. Then I started learning more information in the Bible to understand who the prophet is, and who made him up, and who placed him where he is in the Bible. And I started learning more information. I'm just going to say that right now. I started learning information according to history, according to prophecy, from and according to scripture. And by learning this information, my mind and my intellect and my knowledge started to grow when I was in Mississippi. Then I started learning more information. I was watching before leaving, just before in the transaction of leaving between Mississippi and Atlanta. I ended up coming across some information with Ezra Quasi, some DVDs with him, and he was sharing with information about when he would go to Egypt, and he would show that where they're whitewashing, or they're trying to erase the information off the walls in Egypt, and also where the Romans and I like to say Caucasians, because that's who they were. The Caucasians were manipulating cultures. They would go into cultures and steal knowledge of other cultures and add it to themselves. And this is where the Immaculate Conception came from in the New Testament. Isis, Horus, and Horus. Isis, Horus, and Horus. That is the Immaculate Conception in the New Testament for Mary, Jesus, and Joseph. And that shocked me when I started to see that, because the Council of Nicaea did a work. The Council of Nicaea did a work on the world. That's why you'll find in Revelations 12 and 9, it says the whole world has been deceived. The whole world is deceived today. They're believing in a man that died for their sins when that's really not, that's so far from the truth, because that man was murdered. And the Council of Nicaea, how should I say, modified the story to make it look like it is the way it is today. They modified the story. So it's a lot I've come to learn and understand in my time of travels. So as I was saying, that was when I ended up finding out information. Not that part about Ashwa Kwesi, but I started putting things together and started to see things for what it was through the history and information I started to learn. Now I done made it to Atlanta. Now I done put the Bible down as in not reading it, but I put it down as in having it all the time, going to church and things like that, or to the temple. Now I'm the walking Bible. The scriptures is in me, but now I'm starting to learn more information. Now I'm starting to learn about stones. I'm starting to learn about crystals. I'm starting to learn about the organite energy conductor. I'm starting to learn about words, the energy behind words, the energy behind names. I'm starting to learn about these things. And Keith Ritter was another piece of the puzzle to let me understand the energy on how to speak on certain words. See, a lot of time when we're called by negative names, you pick up the energy. That's even in Hebrew and in Arabic or anything that you call yourself. When you call yourself according to whatever you calling you pertaining it to, you take on the energy of what they're calling you. I've come to understand that when I was in Atlanta. You know, just like you have Hebrew names, they say this person was called this because, oh yeah, I got to give this brother props. A few weeks ago, this brother, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. This brother who has a Knesset, or has a quote unquote, I don't want to say church, but I just say a temple or something like that, young brother. We was going through the scripture. Now I call him, if you still believe in a man died for your sins, I call him a Hebrew Christian. If you call yourself going into the knowledge of the law and the prophets and what the Creator said, and you still in the quote unquote New Testament saying a man died for your sins. If you haven't come to that total knowledge yet, I call them a Hebrew Christian. They don't think they're Christian because they come to know who they are according to prophecy as being the children of Israel that has been separated, but they don't realize they're still practicing the doctrine that was given to the world, which is Christianity. Christianity is the biggest cult in the world, worldwide, given by the Roman Empire. A lot of people don't know or understand this. I can break it down to you. Matter of fact, I may do a little bit of that tonight. But right now, I'm just giving a little bit of understanding according to history and things that Mikhail has come to know. So, as I was saying, and plus I'm putting the two and two together when it comes to like the things I've come to learn. My brother Keith taught me on how to speak, and I felt energy behind that. No different in what you eat. If you're eating flesh, right? Whether people like it or not. I'm not going to say certain type of flesh. It's the fact that you eat flesh as well. It's a certain dense energy that you take on. All right. Now, if you notice in Genesis, the last of the first chapter, when it says we shall eat meat bearing seeds. The actual flesh or meat is in chapter 1, verse, I think that's 28 through 31. Here we go right here. Let me just read that real quick. What the Creator had actually told us what we're supposed to be eating. And it talks about right here, one moment. Right here, when Genesis 1, verse 30. Nope. We'll start at 29. Maybe 28. Nope, 29. Provision of food. 29. Let me hit you that real quick. Just give you understanding. This is energy. A lot of people don't realize it. It says, and Yah said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of the earth. Every herb bearing seed upon the face of the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree. Meaning you can plant trees from the seeds, from the fruit of that seed. Yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. This is what meat really is. For us, it shall be for meat, right? Yahshua Allah, glad the brother made it. Yahshua Allah, glad you can make it, bro. Brother X. I'm glad you can make it. Tonight is Mikhail's Knowledge of Truth. I'm just going over a few information. I was just about to talk about what what we should be eating, but I was going through information. I'm going to give some information tonight about the Roman Empire, about things that has been brought upon us that we don't know about. But tomorrow rising at 7:30, just want everybody to know that's here. Tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. and at 9 p.m. we have an introduction to sovereign class of knowledge. That's a private class. That's private and that's on Zoom only. It's not public. You can't mix public and private. So that'll be private tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. for the people in the UK and in other countries, as well as here in America who can get up there early at 7:30 a.m. And also it will be on at 9 p.m. tomorrow evening as well. Tomorrow night, that is. It'll be in the morning. Well, it'll probably be tomorrow evening, gonna be like it is now. So that's introduction to sovereign class of knowledge. A lot of the classes are different. Each night is something different. Last night was open conversation. We had open conversation, have conversation, and I spoke on a lot of things that happened to me and according to some of the things that we was here with, but I try to always stay on point. So tonight is Mikhail's knowledge of truth, and I'm going to bring information according to what I've come to learn. And I have to give my brother Keith R.
Hey, you tell me to get some food so I can get my keys. Or you can take me to.
Let me go ahead and put you on mute. Let me mute you real quick. I sound like he's getting some food. So, as I was saying, where was I at? Right here. This is Genesis 1:29. This states, and Yah said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which it is the fruit of a tree, yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. This is supposed to be meat for us, not flesh. This is meat. 30. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. You see that? Everything is supposed to be green herbs and things yielding seed for meat. And it was so. And Yah saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. So, as I was saying, Keith, he let me he really helped me understand energy according to how to speak. I kind of reverted back a little bit because sometimes you forget, and then you're around certain energy and certain people, you start going back to speaking certain type of way. But the key that I really felt when he said, I don't say can't, stop, won't, don't, not. Those things are a connotation that brings your energy down and keeps you on a certain level. But you will feel the energy once you change that concept of speaking. Once you change the concept of thinking, once you change the concept of having a whole different process of the way you speak and the way you think. We got to think positive. You got to think positive. You got to think ongoing, helping, and doing, right? That's how we're supposed to be. So I have to give Keith Ritter, my brother Keith R, much props on that. I have to give him that. And I'm glad the Creator allowed me to be in his presence to learn that information at that time. Very smart and intelligent brother, you know. And he's another one that knows his heritage. I got to give him props. He knows his heritage. He knows his heritage from the ancient ancestors of this land. I've heard him and his family speak over the phone. I never met his family. I just met him, but I heard him over the phone speaking to his family, and they speak native language. They know who they are. They know who their tribes is. They know who they are on that level. And I really thank the Creator for knowing and understanding and understanding that point of that brother. So I have to give him props because a lot of us are dead. What do you mean by being dead? Excuse me, like something in my mouth. We're dead according to the valley of dry bones. When I say we're dead, many of us don't know our land. We don't know our language. We don't know our heritage. nor do we know our culture. We have been brought up in a land called America. Most of the people here. We've been brought up in a land called America, and it was prophesied that was going to happen. I could break all that down too, but that'd be a long night if I did. But that was prophesied to happen. But the fact is that this is land called America that we were told that we would be slaves in by the Creator. He said, if you don't keep my law, he told this to our ancestors. If you don't keep my law, I'm going to send you in a land that ye know not. There you're going to serve other gods, wood and stone, gods your fathers haven't known. We're there today. This was prophesied by the words of the Almighty himself through his prophets. His prophets are ambassadors that speak for him. No different than Moses was a vessel that was doing the work of the Creator. We all are vessels. Whoever you may be doing the work of Almighty, you are a vessel doing a work. Like I say, no different than this jar is a vessel holding this water, which is the spirit. This water is the spirit in this vessel. This water gives you the nourishment that your body needs. But this vessel is only a vessel that holds the spirit, the water, the nourishment. That's what we got to start realizing. Once the vessel is done, they either get refilled or tossed away. That's where we have to think. So I come to know and understand where I am in life, who I am, and my purpose. Like I said, when I was in Atlanta, that was my third or fourth level of learning information. And keep putting me on the path of some. The alkaline water was another. That my boy named Mitch introduced me to a machine that makes alkaline water long before I got it. My brother named Freddie Mitchell, good friend of mine. Excuse me. Met him in Atlanta. He's in Houston, Texas now. That's where he stay. But good friend of mine. And then started learning about crystals, stones, organite energy conductor, all these different things. And I grew in knowledge. And I knew how to place the puzzle of each situation together to get to where I am today. Now I'm on the knowledge of the sovereign information, which is to free us from the hands, or should I say from the system that's holding people hostage today. This is why we do introduction to sovereign class of knowledge on Tuesdays. I've actually stopped because I had I had anywhere between 11 to 25, 15 to 25 people coming to the class. Out of 15 to 25 people since late November up until May, only 5 people moved into the advanced class. Only 5. I'm tired of wasting my time, so come on back to you. I'm tired of wasting my time, so I'm starting to do it once a month now, which is the last Tuesday of the month. But for Joshua Law and the brothers I met in Atlanta last week, they seemed like they was hungry. They're ready. So I just said I'm going to go ahead and do tomorrow. I'm going to do Introduction to Sovereign Class of Knowledge Tuesday tomorrow. So I'm going to do it then, and then the next one's going to be at the end of the month. If it all depends on if they're hungry, I might end up picking back up. Who knows? My main thing is I got to start seeing people make moves because I ain't got time to waste my time. You know what I'm saying? I'm on here Sunday. Let me say Sabbath from 12 until I'm done. Then I'm on here last night at 9 p.m. Then I'm on here tonight at 9 p.m. Then I'm on Tuesdays at 7:30 a.m. and at 9 p.m. That's 2 times. I ain't got time to waste my time. So, and it takes up time. So I'm just letting it be known. I ain't got time to waste time. If you're serious, come on through. If you ain't, let them won't, let them don't. I'm where I'm at and I'm good. So What I'm just saying is this. I was thankful that my brother Keith really shared that information with me about how to speak, how to actually he carried himself like a diplomat. He carried himself like a diplomat, not carried. He carries himself like a diplomat. You know, that's what I liked about the brother. He carried himself the way he talked about the way things are and the way people carry themselves compared because the people are in ignorance now. Well, bro, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you. It's one of my brothers out there, Mississippi. I can't talk to him. I'm busy. That's my YouTube. He just called me on. But other than that, as I was just saying, it's a lot I've come to learn. It's a lot I've come to know, and all am here. Just like I made a promise to the I was in Europe before I even went through my spiritual awakening. I made a promise that if he brought me to the truth, I will put the truth in songs and writing and give it to the world. It's up to the world to accept it or reject it. I cannot talk to my brother. I'm on right now. I can't talk to you. I can't mess up my what's called for you to come in. But he may catch on. But other than that, back to what I was saying now. I did that little rundown to let me know where I am today. I did a small little real shortcut of my travels. I can't answer, my brother. I'm online. I know you might have got my text. So I know we got my text. He should see I'm online. I can't answer, you know. So right here. I just shared Genesis chapter 1. I just gave you about meats. And like I said, it's energy. Meats is supposed to be fruits and vegetables, and it's an energy. When you eat flesh, it's a heavy energy in eating flesh. Now, I'm not telling the person what they should or should not do. I don't do that. My main thing is just give you information to give you a better understanding. I know you did, bro. I can't. I just can't. I can't. I can't. I can't answer right now. And he knows I'll be on around this time too. So he just called me out of the. But he might been on for a minute. But other than that, let me get back to what I was saying. Other than that, meat, eating flesh, and eating vegetables and fruits and things with seeds has an energy behind them. And I stopped, and I really felt the energy well when I stopped eating flesh and my process. And I'm gonna tell you how I did it before I go into what I'm planning on talking about, which is actually this Roman Empire, and get people understanding about what the Council of Nicaea did. I'm gonna give you facts tonight. I'm gonna give you some facts. I'm gonna give you information where you can go check for yourself, or I will probably put the links and information in the links for tonight. So you can probably get it on YouTube, or if you go to, you won't be, Instagram don't hold it. But on all my other ones, you may be able to get it. You'll be able to get the links if you're interested. All right. But what I was gonna say first, that's on the Roman Empire, but it was something I was about to say just before that. It looked like it slipped my mind. Matter of fact, let me get this ready now. Something else just hit my mind I was going to speak on. But I was talking about the facts and stuff I come to know and understand because of the research I have done. Now, I have links to what I'm about to share with you here. There we go. History. Stuff that people need to know. Prophecy. Stuff that people need to know. History and prophecy. You got to understand, prophecy is something that's foretold to happen in the future. It becomes history. It becomes history after it comes to pass. So when it happens, you're in the process of it, and after it's gone, it becomes history. So I don't want to make this too long, but I want to make sure you get a good understanding. So, first things first. For those who may not know, maybe for Keith is your first time here, X is your first time here, which is Brother Yahshua Law. Julia, you in here. I'm glad you're being with me, sister. So you're here, and we got about 3 people over on YouTube and a few over here on Instagram and Facebook. So what we get ready to do, I'm see how I'm going to. I want to hit you with the information going into where we are today. So what I'll do is hit you with this. For you that may know about Jacob and Esau, right, which are children from Abraham. If you know the stories of Abraham, let me take this off. I ain't reading none right now. If you know the story of Abraham, Abraham had 2 boys, had 2 sons. He had one named Ishmael and he had one named Isaac. Ishmael was from his wife's, I'm just going to say his wife's servant, right? She had a child named Ishmael by him who still was a prodigy to have 12 sons and 12 nations. Through those sons. But he wasn't the promised child, according to Scripture. I have to give you according to Scripture and according to what has come to pass. All right? I give you according to Scripture and according to what has come to pass, meaning what was prophesied. So it was told that Ishmael was going to be a great nation, which he was or is, and he had 12 sons, right? That's for Ishmael through Hagar. Right? So now they go on their way, and now Abraham and Sarah had a son named Isaac. Isaac has 2 sons, and that's where the blessings is supposed to go through. Isaac had two sons called Esau and Jacob. 2 sons, and you'll find this and turn right to it. See, the Father got me right here. Turn right to it. Genesis chapter 25. I'm going to hit you real quick with it. Y'all can either write them down or you can roll with me. It's up to you. Genesis 25, we're going to start over here at the 3rd verse. I'm going to start at 1 and read on down. The birth of Esau and Jacob at verse 19. Verse 19, Genesis chapter 25 and 19. The birth of Esau and Jacob. It states, and these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the wife of and took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Pandamaram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. Verse 2. 21, shall I say. I got them circled, so it's kind of mixed. I got the one that's crossed out, so it's 21. And Isaac entreated the father. I don't like saying Lord too much. I may say it here and there, and I don't call God. I don't call Yah God. I can say Yah, according to Psalm 68:4, when it says J-A-H, but the J is not in the Hebrew alphabet. The J was made late, so the J is really a Y. So I say, when we speak of God, I say Yah. For clear understanding. So if you hear me say Yah and don't understand what I'm saying, I say Yah because of Psalm 68:4 by his name. All right? We just take it from there. Now it says, and Isaac entreated Yah for his wife, and because she was barren, she couldn't have children, and Yah was entreated of Isaac for Rebekah. Entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. Now she has become pregnant. She couldn't get pregnant first. These are prophecies, and this is the key that a lot of people fail to understand and realize. 22. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, this is the key of the earth today and beyond and before time, up until the Greek and the Roman Empire. These are the keys. These 2 children are the keys between the Greek and the Romans and the children of Israel that don't know who they are today, that's growing into a knowledge of self. Besides other nations. Now, let you understand, all other nations still are other nations. They know who they are. The native from whoever, they know who they are. I'm talking about the ones who is in power now and those who has developed amnesia, who don't know who they are because of a prophecy that was told. These are the main two I'm talking about, and for these specific reasons. All right? And I'm going to give you an understanding of the two, because these are the two that were spoken of by the Creator through Abraham to where the world was going to be under. All right? So I'm giving you an understanding that right now. Now again, verse 22 again. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? Why am I like this if it's of the Creator? And she went to inquire of the Creator, of the Almighty. 23. And Yah said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. 2 manner of people. 2 manner of people. 2 type of people. 2 different individuals. Right? They're still twins, but they're 2 different type of people, 2 different mindsets, 2 ways of being. Shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people. Now I always say the one people that was stronger, I'm gonna say the one that's in charge today. And it's by the mindset. A lot of people are too busy looking for color and a race. But you got to look at the spirit. All this is spiritual. People fail to look at the spirit, and they're too busy looking at physical. This is the problem we have today. People got to come out of the physical and start looking at things spiritual. And when you start to see things spiritual, you can start to read, your eyes will come open. Until then, we have a world full of the valley of dry bones. Ezekiel 37, 1 through 14. If y'all can remember that, check it out. Ezekiel 37, 1 through 14. The valley of dry bones is this world full of dead people, mentally. Alive, walking around, but mentally, spiritually dead. All right? Just wanted to put that out there. Now, and Yah said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people. And that one people I say is Esau, that's empowered today. How and why you say that? I'm give you understanding before I go on. Why he's the strongest. The mindset is the one, when I get to the blessings, you're going to understand why he's the stronger. I ain't going to say this right now. I'm just going to put that in your ear. When I get to the blessings, I don't like saying bless, be less. Remember I was talking about words? I don't say be less. I say bliss. So when you hear the blessings of both boys or both sons, you're going to see the difference. And then when we get to Esau's blessings, you'll understand why I think he's the stronger. And it's not according to the skin tone or because of his race. It's because of the spirit of Esau. And this is what I want to share with you when I get to his blessing, okay? So I'm just going to leave right here. It says, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder, which is going to be the stronger, which is going to be the one to come out. I'm just going to give you, I'm paraphrasing now, or what they call them when they give you something ahead of time. And the elder shall serve the younger. The elder shall serve the younger. But see, in the process of time, this is going to happen. Remember, I said I'm a man of prophecy. I understand prophecy. I understand what's going to come to pass according to the scriptures by the spirit of Yah that has anointed me when I was in Europe. I have to tell you. All right. So, and the elder shall serve the younger, verse 24. And when her days were to be delivered, were delivered, were fulfilled. Let me rephrase that. 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. That's what she come to find out. 25. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. The first child came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. He was the oldest. Remember the prophecy before they came out the womb. The elder shall serve the younger. But it never said when. This is the key that a lot of people fail to get. But let's keep it moving. And they called his name Esau, verse 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. Right? That's what it was. That's what it was. Thank you, Father. Brought it back. The name. I was going to tell y'all about this brother. I'm glad I can't hit that right there. This brother, when I was at I got to give his name because I got to give him props because he shared something with me to see something on a different level. Even though I already seen it, but it just added to my puzzle. But like I said, I have an open mind for knowledge and information. If you feed me knowledge, I'm going to take it and use it for the purpose you give it to me for. I'm going to share knowledge. It's up to you to accept it or reject it. That's what I do. I share it. It's up to you to accept it or throw it away. Whatever you decide to do, hey, this here, you can have it. I don't want it. Or yeah, I can use this. It's up to you. But when I get knowledge, I'm going to use it because I'm going to keep it in my Akashi records. So again, this brother named Travis, young brother, he separated from one group, got his own thing together, and they come to his Knesset, to his to his place of worship.
I just was trying to follow you, and your phone's going in and out.
Oh, mine's going in and out.
Mine. Plus, I was just I was wondering if we get a chance to engage with you during this time, or we just go down the line of the different parts of the story, because there's I was trained in the word, but my family's Native American, so we don't even care about Abraham and what he's on and all of that. But we respect it. But since I was trained up in it and actually can read Hebrew, in the very beginning, the actual name of God is Elohim. And his name, and you can tell it Elohim. And then from there, the Yahwists who created the Genesis of the Elohists were the first. You got the Elohists, the Yahwists, the Sadducees, the Pharisees, the Essenes, and the Gnostics.
That's right.
And what ends up happening in Genesis, that's not a complete document. The earliest document is by Elohist, and then the Yahwists came along afterwards because they worship a different God and took that and start calling it Yahweh. And it's another name for Baal. And then Elohim, the creator. And so it ends up happening, it gets convoluted. The Jews pretty much changed it. You have to kind of go way back in time. So it's just like the Esau story and the whole story that they changed with the rabbis. I've got some really old documents for you to see, because then it'll blow your mind, because you don't want to mix those gods. The Lord and Elohim, two different gods.
I got you. That's why I don't put it like this. According to what I've come to understand and come to know, right? I come to understand and come to know that we know that things have been changed. That's the reason why the word Lord is in there, the word God, the word Jesus, and all these other things are in there as well. But no different than I'm going to get to in the blessings when it came to Jacob and Esau. When it came to that blessing, even though the blessing is going to go to Jacob, Esau asked the question, said, "Isn't his name rightly Jacob?" He said,
"It doesn't even have anything to do with God with me. What I'll do, since I'm well studied at this, and we can go into a more advanced class. I love you, brother. You can call me and we can go over details.
We can go. We can do that. We can do that. And I appreciate you for being here. But yet and still, before you go, I would like for you to share with them what you shared with me about the energy of how you take. Then I can get back to this in a few moments. Share with them how you shared with me about the energy of speaking certain words. I want you to do that, and we're gonna have a conversation. Maybe tomorrow afternoon after I get off my morning class, and we'll go from there.
Like you were having open dialogue.
No, that was yesterday. That was yesterday.
Family that since I was a baby, this is what they came in, and we had to learn Hebrew and all that kind of stuff. So I got a whole nother. I've traveled the world, so I have a whole nother perspective. So from there, I'll start from what you actually Kala Heka Yahabo, Yama Shikwadi Holada. That's just peace and blessings to you. I'm Chief Keith. Okay. First off, when I was trained, my godfather, who was a part of our tribe, he would do a lot of the work for the indigenous tribes with their law. And then I worked for his law firm, and he made sure I was living good. I love him to death. He was from the clan of the Anunnaki. I'm from the Timokan, and we are both well, we're two nations with the same Jaguar clan. So I'm the 19th in line. So I go back about 587 years before they even brought Abraham over here and Muhammad. So, when they brought that stuff over here, my grandmother, she'll go hug a tree and she won't hear none of that because, but then my other elders that were in the thing, the faith of our people, they just wanted to discover everything about the world. So they ran through all the religions. So, I just would love to share with you some time when you have some time. We can start from the beginning because I heard some things I can't follow you. I want to be able to follow you. And then, a lot of times we can just pull out the book and read.
Yeah, we can do that on a Sunday. On a Sunday. That's what I'm saying. That will open. That's what Fight Fire with Truth is about, which is open conversation. That was last night.
I love your heart that you out here sharing it with the people. So I'll go out like this. So basically, um, my godfather, he put me on to start working the crime, trust advocacy. And in that advocacy, I worked as a paralegal for his firm because he was a judge and he told me not to get one because I was on something else when I got into the eldership. I wasn't in the eldership till now. And, because a lot of our elders have passed on. But here's what happened. So one day we were in court and, he's training me. And so I would watch all the brothers and sisters get up there and say, uh, they were getting locked up left and right. And I say, Elder, why is these people getting locked up? They seem to be good people. He says, just listen to what they say. And so what ended up happening, uh, the judge would get totally upset. The judge would say, hey, I'm going to tell you something. I don't have to tell you, and I shouldn't tell you, but I'm going to do it because I like you. And then the guy, because they don't train, the people to law, so they end up interrupting and being rude and doing all kinds of things without them even knowing. So he said, yeah, but, and at that moment, the judge got really hot and he says, I've been sitting up here for 30 years and you just butted me. How about you? Never mind. I'm not going to tell you nothing. They took him away. So I said to to my elder, I said, Tucker, can you tell me why? I said, well, Chief, excuse me. I said, Chief, can you tell me why that happened? He says, well, because he didn't say and. You can't interrupt somebody that knows what they're doing. It's their bench and they've been sitting there for 30 years. So, when he was listening, he didn't know how to respond properly. He could have just said and because and starts with A. A is the actual positive letter, then you got a negative letter B. A and B, positive and negative, C positive, D negative. That's why you find a lot of negative words in D, a lot of positive words in C. Even the cannot is what you can do. And then B, you find a lot of negativity in B. And so when we broke down the alphabet, we were able to go back to the original uh, vibrations of what it was, and then you could construct positive propositional sentences. So when I started to learn how to do this, I started telling my people because then, I was out there saving them from all kinds of court problems and getting locked up, being from another country, child support, bank issues. I mean, the gambit. I had worked almost about 150 cases for the law firm for our people, and then I did it because that was what I had to do to join into to get my apprenticeship. So after I won so many cases, I started running the law firm secretly, and he would do is sign, hooks up in Gainesville, Georgia, and then from there to get the rest of my apprenticeship, I had to go out and see what I can do and help people. So what I ended up doing is doing paralegal work, and that's how I met our dear brother. He didn't necessarily know that. I didn't go around talking about it, but that's what I was on at the time.
You were
I was
sharing it
very,
with me. You were sharing it with me
yes, sir. Well, yeah, I appreciate it. I
a
was
little
young
bit.
then, young, so I didn't necessarily do a lot of talking, but we went in, and, you were really close friends. You're a blessing. We went into business together, and we started handling that more than anything. But the key words you think about uh, shouldn't, wouldn't, couldn't, maybe, and if, but, and there's a couple more, but those are the ones that come to mind. my great granny said, she said, baby, if they say maybe they'll show up, they won't. So we don't know it because in our language, there's no word for maybe.
There you
You
go.
either do or you. And then shouldn't, like, you can't do anything about that on the after effect. You can only tell somebody ahead of time or after the effect, but it's no good for the present. So when you say what you shouldn't do, if you're teaching, that's great. But after, if you're telling somebody, it's really negative to tell them what they should and shouldn't do. So the word should too is a past tense or future tense word, so we don't use that. And it's not even found in our language. I mean, it's interesting having an ancient language because you get a chance to not have what English does to your brain.
That's true.
Uh, uh, could not, or any type of what they call the negative avertment. So when you speak in a negative avertment, you actually, for example, not guilty instead of innocent. The law says innocent until proven guilty.
That's right.
It doesn't not guilty. So if you sign that, you just got into an acquiescence to a contract, and you don't even know it, and you signed it, and it's your fault. And that's how they'll see it. You'll go ahead into your contract nolo. So if you say innocent, they'll have to bound you over because now they can't hold you to your words because it's an administrative court. And administrative court, I mean, they don't make really the serious decisions, especially on arraignment. And I tell you, I've won so many cases by telling them to say innocent. They just drop it because this gets expensive from there. Because after they try to push the fact, a large part of that stuff, it's not necessarily illegal. It's just not. If you have the right standing, then they can't push that on you. And so I just go out there, and back in the day, I used to, my family was all about, helping folks and all that, but the black spell that everybody's under, thinking they're all the same and from the location and all that. It's big out here. So I had a compassionate heart. So I would just help anyone. But eventually, when my elders passed, I had to take on the leadership roles, and so I couldn't just continue talking anymore and just engage because it's so dangerous when you don't know who you're talking to, and then they're not involved in your family or in your tribe. It's like what happened to Malcolm X. Very dangerous when you start telling the truth. And when you really tell the truth, they shut you down, and they don't want that out. So what I had to do is pretty much go underground. Plus, we're the Jaguar people too, so it's all about you won't see us. We're a surprise. But in essence, yeah, Mikael, we talked about how to speak in the proposition, so that when you speak of command, and you speak at command versus you create a negative avertment, which you create a situation where they have something called the bubble of presumption. So if you don't say innocent, what now they presume that you don't know and you didn't say the law, so now you got to go. And if it goes, oh my gosh, there's so many other ways and different techniques they use to entrap you in your own thinking, and you think you're saying something right, but usually what they've trained a majority of Americans, especially the ones that don't have a professional legal education, is to speak ill, what's not, what can't, what shouldn't, but. And all of those things, you see it in normal conversation. It's not even normal. It's like when you talk to a man and he's telling you a solution and you say, but now you don't even care about him because the source of that word is rebuttal, and it's not courteous to rebut, especially if he has to form. So there's all types of rules. They call it etiquette. It used to be taught by the Catholic Church, and it was taught to kings. Of course, they forced us when the Spanish first invaded down in Timocoa, which is today known as Florida. And when they came, they forced a lot of our people to go to the Catholic schools. And I was blessed to be able to be a part of a line that went over to Spain back and forth and was taught a lot of the deeper insights on rulership. So I still carry that on many generations later. Now we're 19 generations away. And, I was thankful to be able to, just show up and say hello. Usually I'll have a minister introduce me. In essence, I'm giving up the government. So, unless you really know me, but the only two people that will call me the government is my mother or the state. And when the state changed, they know my name because I'm pretty popular here with them. And I've got a large, heka with them, similar to what the Hawaiians say, aloha. It's a spirit of respect and kindness and sharing. So over in Atlanta, now they don't even bother. It's really interesting. Of course, I came up here because I wanted to come to music. My family was very upset with me, told me to get back to work, come back to the house and then get to work. So as I aged out, I started getting back to work. So I just want to say thank you. And then, yeah, when there's some time, big brother, I would love to sit down and just start from square one. I read Hebrew, and so I can speak it. And so when we start talking, a lot of times if you're in only English, there's a lot of problems there because when it was translated, they would translate the God, Lord God, as the same as Elohim or the Creator. And then the word God itself, it has three different types of positionings. You have the lowercase g, the all
Hmm.
caps g, and the actual noun. And that's only mentioned one time, believe it or not, in the Bible. And of course, there's another trick they do. So when you say my God, that's the only time you're allowed to use it as a noun. And then when that's the case, a lot of people misconstrue that because they put it on a different page on the same line. So they'll think they're talking about God. And when it comes to Jacob, Esau, and Abraham and all that, like when we get down to it and we talk about these jokers and how they came up with these people and how they made all of that up, that's when you can get a chance to talk to me. Don't get me wrong. I love my brothers who have gone to the just like every tribe in the world. I totally respect everybody's religious yearnings. I just really my people. We're really tired of that. We're tired of them. They forced that on us. They brought this Abraham stuff over here and like and Isaac and Ishmael and all they want to do is we got to serve them and serve their God or we're dead kind of thing. So we just totally reject that. So I just didn't want to stop you because I just want to have that much respect for you to just tell you thank you for having me on. I'm different. We're slow with it. We go word by word. So I understand you have your class, and I just want to send that love and respect out to you to just so that when we talk next time, because I apologize, I thought we were having discourse
No, no.
real deep, but
Before you go, Keith, before you talk about going, Yeshua Law, he want to ask you a question. He had his hand up. He want to ask a question. But you know me, I know I understand or understand and overstand. There's a lot of things um that has been manipulated. All right. My main thing is, like I say, I'm a man of prophecy. See, a lot of things that has been placed, whether the names was changed, what was done. Far as I'm concerned, I go by what I see that has happened. And if you understand what I'm saying, so this is what. See, I all the stuff that we talk about. Remember when I first come on, I told you I could talk about prophecy, things that has came to pass, things that has gone on that people don't know about today. That's what I share. I share what I come to know. Now, when it comes to different names, when it comes to religion, when it comes to all this other stuff, my main thing is seeing things for what it is, meaning the things that happen to quote unquote us as a people. Now, as I was saying when you first came on, I was sharing that you know your culture. You know your lineage. You don't have to do like majority of the quote unquote African Americans. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he done left before he got a chance to say anything. I was gonna have him say something. But he might come in, his phone might have failed because he was moving around. Hopefully he come right back. But what I was gonna say is that it's a lot of things that I go by what I see, the things that happen to me, the things that's going on today that we can actually see that's coming to pass. That's what I'm going by. And I also recognize that you know your lineage, you know your heritage. And I shared that in the beginning. So by you knowing who you are, you know what has happened a point in time before. Let's just say if Abraham, from what we know, quote unquote, we just do it like that. From the Abraham that we come to know, and the lineage that we come to know that Abraham supposed to have came through, just giving an understanding. And everything that has happened, that has been written and that has been shown, and not even that, we actually went through. When I say we, you know your tribe. You know your lineage. You know your people. Your people are the Jaguar people, as you just shared. The ones that's over here that don't know their land, don't know their culture, don't know who they are, don't know their language. The people that's here that's talking English, I tell people, and I go through this all the time, I tell them, if you close your eyes, and if I ask you, what language do you speak? You say, I speak English. I say, now think, what does an Englishman look like? And the first thing they're going to say, he looks Caucasian. They'll say white. I don't say white. He looks Caucasian. And I say, right, you're speaking a Caucasian language. So my main thing is getting the people to understand, number one, is to wake them up from where they're at. So we know that this is not our language. We know that this is not, well, whether this land is or not, we don't, the ones who are waking up out of sleep, they don't know. So this is a whole different culture compared to your culture. You know who you are. You know your land. You know your language. But the ones that has been dead and put to sleep haven't. So the ones who has went through these things, and that was, I got you, Julia. Hold on, I got you, sis. So the ones who have went through these things and the things that has come to pass according to what was written, according to those people that curse was put upon, is who I'm speaking to.
I understand, and nothing but respect for that. And I just tell you from my first grandfather, uh, my first great grandfather, we sat down and talked about this, and he says when they brought the curse over here, they mentioned Allah, they mentioned all these foreign gods' names and Abraham, and they tried to make that our fathers and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and we reject it. That's colonialism, and then those Jews and that Bible. That's a whole work right there. It's a massive work, and it took it over a large part of the planet with it. We just reject that. Now, don't get
And
me
I
wrong.
agree with, no, I agree with you 100%. Because it was
Well,
prophesied that they was going to do that. But yeah, I agree with you.
the beautiful thing about God is that there's truth in it. And then when you got the right heart, it don't really matter.
Thank you.
You're going to protect your people regardless because of the love that you have. So my thing is that the only reason why I brought this up because you know how we go when we go deep, and then at the same time too, it's important because a large part of the thing that my people were stuck in, especially we would have debates because you would get raised up and the church forced it on us.
That's
They
right.
forced boarding school and they taught us this, but then there was something called the Black Church. It was Nat Turner was a part of it, so very
Right.
secretive. It's called the Church of God in Christ now. It's kind of fallen, and there would be a back secret church on it, and they would teach a whole nother thing. And the first thing they would teach is that we would break down the names, and we would go over the code that's written in there, and then we would also, like the whole Esau thing. For example, Esau was the first child, and the way that the law works is that you're supposed to give the inheritance to the first child.
That's right. That's right. That's true. That's fact.
Jacob lied to his father and pretended he to be Esau. So that's how you know the devil steps in. And then this whole thing, Israel.
Well, hey, Keith, we're going to go through that because this is where the prophecy comes in. But what I would like for you to do, I got a couple of people look like they want to ask you a couple of questions or they just want to speak on something real quick. So right now, we might end up making this a conversation. It all depends on the way that it's going to go. But before we get into that conversation, Julia, because I know Yahshua Law, he has it up first, but he fell off. So Julia, you came up. Ask your question, Julia. Is it pertaining to whatever it's pertaining to? Let's open this conversation up the way it is tonight. But Keith, open conversation is on Sunday. All right, that's what open conversation for. And I'm glad you're here tonight so we can go through this dialogue. Come on, Julia.
Keith, I want to say thank you, and I hope you come back. And just to share a little, I do understand and I do believe what you say. I'm coming from the Caribbean, and I'm telling you, the people that are from the Caribbean, a lot of us are lost, taught under the English and the French
That's
all
right.
our lives. So we don't know. There are a lot of things, even right now, being here, um, finding out, and even reading that Bible and understanding. And even when I was reading it on my own, some of the things, um, it was just not making sense. And I know I can talk a lot about other things, but I just want to share just a little, just a little. I remember growing up in St. Lucia, and they had the Catholic religion, and you could see the deception of these people. Even in the current age,
Yeah.
they were having mass, and guess how they in what language they were having it. In Latin, speaking to a group of people that were speaking English and Creole, but the trick was to keep the people in the dark.
Yep.
So information from you is not, it should not be kept only only among your people, but come to
The
this
conversation. Come right here to
the
where we at.
conversation, because people are waking up, but people need to know. So speak your truth. Say, speak what you know so other people can learn too, because I'm telling you, a lot of people are lost. A lot.
And
There are
Julie,
so many things we need to know.
yeah. And go ahead, Julie. Finish up. Go ahead and finish up, Julia.
Actually,
Yes.
Wait, hold on, keep let her finish up because I think I cut her off.
So I am so appreciative of you coming. So please don't go. Please come back.
I will, and it's an honor. Are you saying Alicia is your name, or did I catch it right?
Julia.
Julia.
I apologize, Julia. I just want to tell you something. Brother Michael was a part of the catalyst of why I left to go travel the Caribbean and go meet all my people. I went to the Caymans. I went to all throughout, and so I got a chance to meet the last of the Tainos and the Caribs. And my granny told me stories of the Caribs. Because we're the keepers of the eternal flame, and that is the knowledge of the 19th. Well, we know, well, of course, there was a big war that happened about 500 years ago, and we had to restart. But I keep that going. So, when I meet a Carib or a Taino, I just sing y'all love, and I'm here for you. And that's what we're here for. If we were able to keep our heads and our names, at least I could tell you what happened. And I carry that with me. That's what they call the eternal flame. It's something that we do at our nation to remember, so they don't drive us crazy. Because every time you chop a man down, a man is also a physical thing, but you can chop him down in the spirit by him not remembering and knowing his name. And you can install him and program him, and that's what they did when they raised the children up in that English.
Yep.
Man, the sad part too. They took over the world because when they would go and do the conquering, they'd send the priests, then they send the army, and then if you didn't bow your knee, I can show you some of the old Catholic Church documents, the Bull of Patera, a lot of the bulls where they totally said, hey, if you don't bow your knee before Jesus, what we're about to do to you.
And that's what I wanted to share. That's what I wanted to share tonight, Keith. Come on, bro. Keep talking.
Well, the next thing too, it was not just started with Jesus. Abraham and Moses were another type of colonialization when they started it a long time ago. Before there was Judah, there was Israel, and Israel didn't just have Judah, and they weren't called Jews. And then Israel was a place where worship. So Israel, the city of peace.
Right.
Jerusalem, excuse me, Jeru, peace, Salem, city. And so all of the peoples of the earth during that time, just like that was initially Karnak, we would just come all together. The lucky ones that take their sabbaticals and go out there and study with the wise. And then, of course, through some of our contexts, our family's been able to be blessed to travel the world for many generations. When most certain of our people that were so-called black were locked up and couldn't go anywhere, my family was traveling. And we brought back artifacts. We brought back a lot of knowledge. And so, yeah, if you ever would like to go in, I will break it down. And we can even break it down in the Hebrew, because I don't mind. I would rather speak that language because that was the first that it was written in. And when you read it originally, there's something completely different. And then you feel so relieved because guess what? The message in it is beautiful. It's just that if I want to control somebody, I'm going to just go ahead and all I put, for example, all are called but few choose. But if I put it chose in, now you think it's something that like somebody else has got to do, and now he made you for hell. So when you go look at the originals, it's just like you get a whole nother language. So I'm thankful to share that with you, and of course, I try to. It's when I talk to my Hebrew brothers and sisters. Of course, I've been trained by rabbis, all that, because I went through and really studied the sciences, because that's forced you to do it. And plus, my family was really successful, so I had all day to do this. All day. And this is what they did all day because they were very successful. So in essence, though, when I came up to Atlanta, I came up to do some music, and they all were mad at me. Why are you going into Babylon? Why you want to be in scenes in front of an audience? You when your people need you, when you're commercial key. And I was a kid, so I needed to get away to find myself. And then finally, I came right back home. And then now I pretty much do state administration. You know, we're doing claims on land, help get funding, finances for my people. Even the people that are not in our tribes, I teach them how to go get $1 million with their credit. And I've done it many, many times. So, you know, another thing too, I'm full of love. So that's why we know Brother Michael. Brother Mikael is a really amazing character. Like he's out here showing so much love and dancing. So, you know, I love music. So get out and because you know that's what our people did to kill off those spirits. That's why they didn't want us dancing and drumming.
That's right. Brother Keith, my brother Joshua Law, which is Brother X, he had his hand up earlier. Now, hey Keith, I'm elated that you're here because a lot of things you said actually adds up to some of the things that I'm going to talk about a little later. We may not be tonight because this look like it's going to be a open conversation tonight, and I'm good with it because of where we are at this point. But everything and a lot of things you were saying in your conversation is still held to what we are doing and where we're going to. I see the codes even in the scriptures. I see the codes of the things that you were saying according to going to Jerusalem or the place of where we're supposed to go to worship. All that's still right here. A lot of people see it, a lot of people don't. But we have to understand the Great Spirit, the Almighty, has everything well intact where it's supposed to be, no matter how other people see it, because I see it clearly. But Yahshua Law, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, brother.
Yeah, you had your hand up early before you fell off. Come on and say what you're going to say, and then we're going to go to part two after you, because I always do a part one and part two. I want you to go ahead and share what you got. And keep, you might well stay on tonight, bro. We got a conversation tonight. Go ahead, Yahshua.
Yeah, I was saying, I was actually applauding, you know what I'm saying, because I'm also native too, but that leads into my actual question, man. Like, if you're somebody who was kind of trapped under like the English language, and you know, what I'm saying, you know your heritage, but you didn't really know the direction of it. What's some ways you can reconnect, or you know, what I'm saying, find out what exactly? Because I'm from the bottom, which would be known as Florida, but it's Mobile, Alabama now. You know, so I know during that time it would be part of the colonial part where they actually invaded. We have a little fortnight, you know, saying Spanish part two. You know what I'm saying? So like if you wanted to reconnect and find out what heritage you was, what would be the direction you would go?
First off, I just want to tell you the amount of people in Alabama, what they call that today, and the coast of the Carib and the Taino and the many other tribes, the Muskogee and, and, and the Choctaw, we all live down in that area, including other unnamed tribes. And so what ended up happening, you'll have a hard time after 1860 because they made a block and they start calling people niggers, which is means, believe it or not, if you go look at the U.S. Census, it means labor class. And it's a stock. It's not a people's. But just to answer your question, so you know, if you're
Excuse me,
somebody
excuse me. Hold. You said it means labor clowns and it's a stock. Could you repeat that again?
when we sit down, I'll go over the U.S. law with you, and we'll just go up to us.gov, and I'll show you where it says about when they created those words and made those, and they wanted you to repeat them for 500,000, like as long as you can. Keep the spell over your head.
I got you. I just wanted to understand what you said.
Which word was it again?
That's what I'm trying to find.
Negro, black, colored, and Indian is another down talk word.
That's
You
right.
know, in fact, so native from us. That's why if you don't call your name, then you're not calling a name. Even indigenous, not indigenous. It's crazy. You know, in means invisible, not visible. You know, when you start getting into quantum syntax of the words, they make sure you talk out of it so they can keep control. Because the way they win is that, for example, the first in line and first in time. So if you repeat another man's name, for example, Lake Victoria, and you call it Lake Victoria, and you forgot the name of the original name, now you're under the spell because then the property of ownership, that's possession. And the type of possession is where you repeat and possess. You're being possessed by speaking a word that isn't yours. So here's how you do it. This is what they wrote, believe it or not. I'll send this to you. They said the Negro, we're gonna cut him off from his father. So he's not going to think to go track his father. So I would tell you this, because our family is really serious. It costs me. Don't get me wrong. I still pay to this day. I spend about 3,800. It's not a lot of money, but we do background. You go find out who you are. You go track your mother and father, their mother and fathers, their mother and fathers as far back. And then when you find the name and you find the name, you can get some money. I mean, bro, money. And then you like I've helped my brothers who are Negroes that finally realized that I helped a recent their kids. He's 30 years old. He just turned 30. He went back and found where they stole his family's land. He got it back. He got it back. And so, but he didn't know just to do the genealogy studies, which is anthropological. You have to go and figure out where everyone's from. And you got to go know their names, who their name, how they live, where they were living at. In fact, you got to get good because when they try to hide, they'll mess up the records because they don't want you to know. So you got to even find the master where the land that you lived around at, and you'll usually see him up the street, and you got to look at all the names at that time so that you can find out because they'll try to hide it, and you call you Bessie Smith or some corny English name, Tom Baconhead, ham sandwich in the lap, letters and all that kind of stuff, some corny English name. And don't get me wrong, like I have another side of my family. My mother's side is French Indian. They don't know no better. They're Creole. They talk American. They wear blue jeans. They drink Coca-Cola. They eat meat. They don't do nothing that was in the culture. So a large part of being a portion of, I was raised somewhat in it, but I wasn't completely American because like they motherly had me trained out of school and around the world. And my father purposely did that because he didn't want me to be a pistol rod and not know. So that was what I would tell you. I don't know how much money you got, but then there's a couple of GNS sites, plus you got AI. Start looking through the birth certificates. And then if you find a name, Kyrie did it. Kyrie used to talk that Hebrew Israelite stuff. And then they came after him because it isn't the truth. And then they went to go, stop him and lock him up and get rid of his contract. And finally, he found his chief and found who he was. And they protected him because you can only get protected by your true sovereign. Sovereignty is not what people think it is. It is a contract between the sovereign and the citizen. And that is a social contract, and it only can happen inside a nation. If you don't have one of them, it's great to have a church. I mean, that's beautiful, or a synagogue, or a knesset, or whatever the case might be. And then still to this day, what they call me when I go arguing for it, I'm a pre-colonial, pre-constitutional, sovereign tribal nation state. If you type that in, you'll see that that's considered sovereign in the United States, and that's the only designation because it'll be on the Constitution. Indians not taxed, and I done never paid one of them ever my whole life legally. And don't get me wrong, there's because they don't, Of course, I've hung out with many other dependent tribes that when they got their money, chief of the Pequot, chief of Lakota. I can go down the list because you're supposed to get to know everybody, go to their powwows, and get say hi and all. But they took the money. And then when they take the money, they go ahead and when they take the money, it's just they change up a little bit, and so they become what they call a dependent nation. Even though they have sovereignty to some degree, they don't have their full sovereignty. And the ones that are fully sovereign, they don't recognize because of the plenary power of Congress. And it's a big fight still going on. The war's still going on now. Mike Mikhail said something really interesting. We have been shared prophecy from thousands of years ago. I hold about 15,000 years of information, but we only have 19. Some of it has been lost. I've only been able to recover so much of it from the verbal thing that was passed down to me. But then, my father, Elohalada Yama, which is, he was adopted by Keith Riddle. And so that's how I got my English name. But basically, he would talk about the stories, and he wrote down a lot. And Granny talked about a lot of things about the histories and the prophecy. So, these things you can find written on the walls, and a lot of times, a lot of our stuff and our artifacts have been buried, and also they'll go take it and put it in their beautiful houses and put it at the basement, like the Smithsonian and all those rich royal houses, because they know if you go after the royals and you got off the people that know, that's how you make all your people, dark. And you put out the darkness by going after the light. So then I'm honored to be able to speak to you because, just for you to go search after your story, mystery, and funny that it's the same thing, mystery, my story. then you start to love who your father is, and your mother, and your grandfather, and great grandfather, and then you keep on going back as far as you can, and you might find out you somebody, and you come from somewhere, and you just not a Negro. And imagine when you put a black, the bottom line, and it's in the black. That's a whole nother way where you can become, when they say legally dead. Yeah, you now don't have lineage. You're a stocks.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you want to break that, you break it by going to find out who the names of your fathers.
There you
Instead of
go.
calling the names of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that's one of the installed fathers that they're supposed to give you. You can call them your fathers. I can call them Yama. I can call them Kesakeniwa. You know what I'm saying? The people in my blood, that I have connection to, it's real. And then two, the way we live is much better than that. Like whoever, like don't get me wrong, I've seen some whole. Like I love the Thai people when some of the Ethiopians, the way they live, very ancient. And some of the Jews that are doing great, like they live the ancient way because it was all over the earth. There was a global empire. They don't tell you about it. They hid it, and we'll go
I
to proof.
have it, bruh.
Yeah. I'll tell you the proof. And also, lastly, they discovered, and they hid this too. It's a science paper. I'll send you the link. But they found the oldest genetics over there in Alabama, older than Africa, older than Asia, here. And then they want you to know that. They want you to be distracted. Everything's over there to the east, and all that yeah. And then what ends up happening? That means they get a chance to play here, like they've been destroying this place and eating, like for these last 250 years. Which hopefully this will be her last birthday. I mean, hopefully, but if not, I'm not trying to get it that fast. I know it's gonna be painful when it falls, And but at the same time, we got to be prepared. And one of the things I tell my people, and any of my people who hear my voice, and the people who are not my people, just people out of love, unity. Unity is the secret. Coming together and just having a collective identity. That's what they pour out the nigga. Get rid of his collective identity. The closest thing he got is the Bible. They'll go arguing about that all day. I did this.
Exactly. You're right.
That, and then now they go to fighting, and they're over here and one's over there, and it works well because they never have to find no unity. And that's how they designed that thing. Don't get me wrong; it's very powerful. That's a magic book, and that's why, because I study a lot of the magic books of the earth, including the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, all the magic books. Because in our nation, we're supposed to. I'm not supposed to talk about other people's religion and have any discussions with them legally.
That's into my eye.
Yeah, I keep out of everybody's business, but Mikael, he met me when I was young, and I was running my mouth when I was a kid.
And I learned a lot. Just like, check it out. Before you go ahead on, Key, just like he's talking right now, it's so much knowledge that I have picked up and know according to what I know and according to what he's sharing. See, when the spirit, and see, I go by the spirit, and not just by what's been told to me by man or what have you, or either what's in this book. The spirit shows me and give me the understanding of what I need to know and understand. Keith has given so many different clues and points in what he was saying in this conversation. And it all boils down to everybody being in unity under one law, which is under the Creator's law, which is under the divine law, under the Almighty. All of it is under that. That's the most ancient of days that we can go to. It's older than any civilization. It's older than the quote unquote at the Tower of Babel. It's older than that, because when you get to Genesis 1 and 3, it talks about the light. That light was the law. That law was here before anything was made, according to the Bereshit, as we used to talk about, Keith. The Bereshit, which is the beginning. The law is the light. That law was here before anything was made. And when that law was here before anything was made, it was here, and it's for all people, all nations. All nations is the ones who scattered out and did their own thing. So I totally understand what Keith is saying. I totally understand. No matter if the names was changed, because we don't know. I just said last week or the week before, this book is older than all of us. But yet and still, the prophecies in it is the key. That's why I'm a man of prophecy. See, a name can be changed, but just because the name changed, the not the mention, but the process behind whatever that was supposed to happen for that individual or that person or that name or that prophecy don't change. So you could, if it's Abraham or not, if it's Jacob or not, if it's Israel or not, whatever it is or may not be, the key is the prophecy to the meaning of what it is. I'm 100%. I got it all. I totally understand it. So everything Keith is saying, I totally understand, because what the best thing about this whole conversation is this. Keith knows his lineage. And that's the difference between the quote unquote African, or not African, the quote unquote American, nigger, colored, whatever byword or proverb that we were called by as a people, American, whatever that is or who they call it is, they are a different nation and tribe than Keith. Keith knows his lineage. Now, if you look at example, I'm just gonna make a quick example. The Syrians, and if they still know who they are, they know who they are. The quote unquote Egyptians, which is really Mizrahims, the ones that the Romans gave the name Egyptians. If they still who they are, they still know their heritage. No different than Keith know his heritage and his language. They still know who they are. But it was prophecy about a certain people that was going to lose who they are. That's prophecy. So the fact that that happened, and it's continually to happen as they wake up, as it says it's supposed to happen, I don't care who name it's supposed to be, was supposed to be, not, whatever it is. The purpose of what's supposed to happen behind it is the prophecy of it. Bruh, I was anointed. I just want to share with you, Kip. I think I shared this with you, but I don't know if I did or not. But if I didn't, I was anointed in Europe. When I went through my spiritual awakening, not nothing by no man, by fasting and praying, I went through my spiritual awakening. I seen things, felt things, and heard things spiritually that the average man don't see, feel, and hear. And before I went through that, I told you, Craig, he brought me to the truth. I put the truth in songs and writing and give it to the world. It's up to the world to accept it or reject it. So to me, it don't make a difference about a name. It doesn't make a difference about all this other stuff that's going on that we don't know about. But what I can tell you is that the Council of Nicaea, the same thing you're saying about the people came over here, took over the whole earth, the knowledge that I know from it, I can give you that and show it to you. And show you according to prophecy where we are today. Show you according to prophecy what they did. Show you according to prophecy the same information you talking about the money and all this other stuff that people have to get certain things. I know it all. And by me knowing this, to me, you are a confirmation of the dead. You are a confirmation, when I say of the dead, of those valley of dry bones, the people who don't know who they are. You're my confirmation. You're the Creator's confirmation by you knowing who you are. You just said you're from the Jaguar tribe. You know your tribe, you know your people, you know your language. How often do we find any melanated brothers that know this? Now, you can find all these Caucasians. They say they're from Ireland or from Scottish or whatever. They say they this and that because they know who they are. They kept their lineage. But many of us haven't. We've been brainwashed. Keith, you are a prodigy, and you are a really a blessing. Just the fact to be on here, sharing what you know about your heritage compared to what I know about the ones who has died and is coming back to life. Go ahead, Keith.
Something really important. So remember, you remember Kuta Kinte? They beat his name out of his mouth, and they were about to hang him. You know, they would hang you if you didn't repeat the name. Don't get me wrong; they would have slave raids and come down in our land and take us, and then we had to get away. We had to go to Cuba, Belize. In fact, I went to Belize and I took a 77-day fast. just a little bit of water, maybe every 14 days I have water, and I go sit over at the pyramid. And then the thing was, one of my elders, the chief, elder chiefs that run that whole area of Belize, because they dispersed us. He said something very interesting. He says, Keith, if you ever do get a chance to talk to anybody who's, he says that when you start to study Yahweh or the concept of the Lord, for example, Elohim, he grants dominion. And dominion is above sovereignty. Believe it or not, sovereignty is what you do when you, okay, I need somebody to keep my garden. Okay, you're going to be my Lord. And you go over there and fix that garden, make sure you keep all the lions, tigers, and bears out. Lords are, and they came here. They're like princes.
Right.
So the funny Lord concept is that if you don't, if I told my people, like, I stayed in the hood before just because I wanted to, because, I love music and, got a house over there. I really brought the community up, and I don't know if you were around, Mika, to see it. But here's what I learned. If you're stealing from each other, killing each other, and sleeping with each other's wives, and you don't got one vision, and y'all all the 10 commandments, you can't have a nation, and there's no Lord that's going to protect you because y'all don't have unity. And the Lord, believe it or not, instead of a physical God, something that's real, it's the actual people that if you touch one of us, we'll whoop your ass. Excuse my language.
You're right.
Getting that tail so deep, you will never think another day to touch one of us our hairs, and that who actually is the Lord. And when our people, and when melanated, you want to call them that, it's a shame that you would look at somebody and just call them something that's blanket as a social construct. But in fact, that's what they did. They mixed a whole bunch of people up. Hey, they mixed the Zulu up with the Quazon into. Those are enemies, and so they're still enemies today. They'll say something they don't like, and they go to fighting because we're not just one monolith. We're all different people. It's important to remember that. Now, America, started by Amerigo. They named the map after him because he came over here from the Catholic Church. And
I read that.
Africanus, the general.
I read that.
Yeah, so they came down here with war, and you're forced to do this. You don't do it because you want to. You grew up in this. Everybody fearful to keep their lives and not go to jail. Everybody's in fear because they command. They know, and they keep the command. Now, what's so beautiful is that if they get you where you got the dream, American dream, and you don't know your name, I mean, hey, you can get some money. You know what I'm saying? That's a good way to go to sleep. And of course, there's some people are not that's not enough for them. They want their jurisdiction. They want their own law. They want to be able to keep their own law. And that's exactly what they took. And that's what I mean by the Lord. When the people come together and they can love one another, where they don't break any of those commandments.
There you go.
And of course, that's what my elder said. He said that's kind of what the prophecy was, because they would divide and conquer. And then, at the same time, too, when you're not a family, so I come from a family of bloodline, what happens when and don't get me wrong, like just because you're a family don't mean they're going to be nice to you, but it's a lot easier because if you're blood, it's easier. But what ends up happening is that, like my ancestors, a lot of my ancestors, they said, hey, one of the reasons why I don't get out there and talk, because first of all, it doesn't, I can put 5 people in a room, we go get $1 million and run things without anybody ever knowing. So, plus Jaguars, you don't see them coming. And then on top of it, too, it was very dangerous for us because when you go talking the truth, look what happened to Malcolm, and you saw what happened to Malcolm X. They will kill you. See, Malcolm and Martin Luther King, they will kill you. Medgar Evers, as soon as they start talking that stuff, the real stuff from the United Nations, pop. So, when you got the real message, they'll let that stuff flicker online, but when you go there, they'll shut it down because, what ends up happening, the real message is very dangerous. And it'll wake you up, and they don't want that. And I wouldn't want it either. If I took your people over and changed y'all names and beaten y'all and raised your children in my house and they talking my language, reading my God's Bible, I mean, I done got them.
And Keith, that's why I have the introduction to Sovereign class private. It's on Zoom only. I don't have my YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram open. So I don't do that. So, but that's why I have the introduction to Sovereign class of knowledge that's private, and we're doing the work and we seeing the effects of it. But what I like to do is have you hold on, because I'm gonna pause this and come back to part 2, because right now we're 1 hour and 34 minutes in. So we're going to pause this real quick and we're going to have a part 2. So other than that, I like to share with everybody that I am that Mikael in Daniel chapter 12. verses 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's me. Showing the holy people who they're really supposed to be. Waking them out of their dead beds, which is really in their heads. For all of you who's living in the new, this is for you. I'm that same Mikael in Revelations 12, battling that red dragon where Satan dwell, who deceiveth the whole world but prevaileth not, because the horn is blown without a doubt. This was prophesied for you to see that Mikael is really me. We get ready to pause Zoom real quick. We're going to pause because Zoom is the full message, or should I say the full story, or the full video. So everybody on Zoom, we're going to pause you for a minute as we go ahead and say bye to everybody for part one on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We're going to pause Zoom. So we'll be right back, y'all. Hold on, Keith. You got a lot. I know you got a lot to share. Julia, Yashua Law, and Gus, hold on for a minute. Glad y'all here. We're going to pause y'all for a minute, and we'll be right back.
Recording stopped.
All right. For Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, how is everyone doing? For everybody that's there, can you please connect with me if you like the information on my to get onto the Zooms. The Zoom is private for introduction to sovereign class of knowledge. So if you like to get on the Zoom calls on each one of the nights for the public platforms and for the private, you're welcome to call or text me at 770-572-5315. That's 770-572-5315. Or you can email me at lkhyym@gmail.com. That's lkhyym@gmail.com. And the different platforms we have on Zoom, we just start off with the Sabbath. On the Sabbath day, we're here on the Sabbath at 12 p.m. noon, and we call that one Assembly of the Righteous. We call it Assembly of the Righteous, and we're going through the history. Matter of fact, this week coming up, this Sabbath coming up, we'll be on first of Second Kings. Second King, we'll be on the first chapter of Second Kings coming up. This Sabbath coming up be the first Sabbath in June. It'll be so then it's like we right on time on where we're going. So that's Assembly of the Righteous on the Sabbath at 12 p.m. noon, which is the beginning of the evening. And then we're here on the night after Sunday, which is at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's night after Sunday, meaning the darkness after the sun go down. And that's called on Sunday night. The night after Sunday is called Fight Fire with Truth, which is open conversation. We have open conversation such as what we're doing tonight. Open conversation on the night after Sunday. And what we do is we have open conversation, somewhat of what we're doing tonight. And we just open up with information. We share information and go from there. Then we have on tonight, which is on quote unquote night after Monday, which is Monday evening at this point in time, at 9 p.m. Eastern, we have Mikael's Knowledge of Truth. That's Mikael's Knowledge of Truth. And what I do is I bring to you the facts of history, past, present, and future, according to prophecy and history. And I bring that to your attention to the things that has happened that we know about, what was prophesied for to happen, and where we're going according to the things that has been said that was going to happen. And tonight, Keith brought a lot of information out that actually was prophesied, but was mixed in a lot of things as well. But he brought a lot out tonight that some of us can see and understand. But spiritually, I can see it all. So just sharing that, and that's on Mikael's Knowledge of Truth every Monday night after Monday, should I say, at 9 p.m. Eastern. And every last Tuesday of the month, we have Introduction to Sovereign Class of Knowledge. That's Introduction to Sovereign Class of Knowledge. So by being an introduction to the Sovereign Class of Knowledge, we actually have two classes. We have an introduction for you to get into your executive office, which is your which puts you in your sovereign status. That's why that's private. So that's every last Tuesday of the month, but I'm making an exception tomorrow for those that I met in Atlanta, and also for my brother Judah Yah and anybody else that's willing to come on for tomorrow. So I will be on tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. in the morning in the rising, and at 9 p.m. tomorrow night. So we do that twice for the people in the UK and across seas to come in on the early part, which is at 7:30, because we're 5 hours ahead of the ones in the UK. But also, for the ones here that can't get up that early, we're here at 9 p.m. So if you're interested, text me again your name, number, and email at 770-572-5315. Again, that's 770-572-5315. Or you can email me at lkhyym@gmail.com. Again, that's lkhyym@gmail.com. All right, that's the Zoom. Now, if you don't want to get on my public platform, just to understand, if you want to get on the public, such as my YouTube and my X, formerly known as Twitter, the YouTube and X, formerly known as Twitter, is under Juice Pro 33. It's all together one word, which is spelled JUICE PRO 33. Again, that's JUICE PRO 33. All together is one word. Put that in your search engine on YouTube, and please like, subscribe, and share. Connect with me. Let that. I'm trying to get my subscribers to build and get that to build as well. Since my last one got terminated because someone came on here with that negative stuff, with what that explicit stuff. So it got terminated by uploading it by mistake. So and also you can connect with us on Twitter, on X, formerly known as Twitter, under Juice Pro 33 as well. So that's X, formerly known as Twitter, as well as YouTube, both under Juice Pro 33. Now, if you're interested in connect with me on Facebook. My Facebook is Mikael Harris, which is spelled MI''CHAEL space HARRIS. Again, that's MI''CHAEL space HARRIS. That's my Facebook page. Get on there. You can connect with me on there if you like. Friend me up. And also you can connect with me on Instagram. My Instagram and one of my TikToks, same name. Instagram and one of my TikToks is under Lkhyym _ the juice, which is spelled LKHYYM _ THEJUICE. Again, that's LKHYYM _ THEJUICE. That's my Instagram and one of my TikToks. Now, my other TikTok and my other YouTube, you can connect with me on those at Michael the Juice Harris, which is all together, all one word, 4 words together as one, which is spelled MICHAEL THEJUICE Again, that's MICHAEL THEJUICE All right, that's for my other YouTube and my other TikTok. Last but not least, you can connect with me on rumble.com and patreon.com. That's rumble.com /LKHYYM. Again, that's rumble.com /LKHYYM, and also patreon.com /LKHYYM. Again, that's patreon.com /LKHYYM. Other than that, I'd like to thank everybody. Say thank you for coming for part 1 of Mikael's Knowledge of Truth. I haven't given this a title yet. Knowing your history, or I might put Keith's name in there, but I haven't came up with a title for this yet because the way it went, and it went great. Keith came up with a lot of information, so a right title is going to come. But right now, we're just going to say thank you for coming to Mikael's Knowledge of Truth Part 1. We'll be right back with Part 2 in a few moments. So Instagram, we're going to say bye to you. Don't like nobody can't say anything. I'd like to thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. We'll be right back with Part 2 in a few moments. I thank you, appreciate of you, and always peace. That's Instagram. All right. All right. And for Facebook. Nope. Right here. We got Facebook. You on YouTube looking like for a moment. I thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. I appreciate love you. See you soon. And peace. All righty. And for YouTube Live, I thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. Appreciate love you. See you soon. And always, peace.